Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am trying to get the stream going on Instagram. Let's see if we can get that going. I may have to restart one more time, but we gonna see. Anyway, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Monday Night Raw with your boy Reggie. We are here. We are here. We can now stream to all of these things at the same time. Let's see if we can get this going. Let's see if we could put the stream key in here again. And you need to change the stream key, remove this destination from the stream, and then add it back. So we're going to do that real fast. I appreciate y'all for tuning in with your boy. Make sure you give me a like and a follow as we get this going. Save changes. Let's see if we're live on Instagram now. I am your host, Reggie. I know y'all are used to seeing two of us. It is normally my co-host Norwood here as well. Let's see if this is working. So it looks like it's working. We're live on Instagram. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Twitch. I appreciate everybody for tuning in with your boy. I appreciate all of y'all. If you could give us a like, follow, and a subscribe as well. And thank you for tuning in as I live streamed my sadness when it came to the Atlanta Falcons, man. The Atlanta Falcons lost to the Indianapolis Colts, who went all the way to Berlin to do the same thing. I don't understand why we had to go all the way to Berlin to do the exact same thing. But again, if you guys could come in, make sure you that's me. Make sure you guys could come in and let us know where you're from. Make sure you give us a like, subscribe, and a follow. As you can see, I have on my Hampton paraphernalia along with the Atlanta Hawks hat. The Atlanta Hawks seem to be the only team that has a little bit of the Atlanta Hawks team seems the only team to have a little bit of competence, them and the Georgia Bulldogs. So again, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a follow. What we have, I'm used to having two people here. So what I have on the docket today, first off, shout out to Norwood, my co-host. No, he did not leave the podcast. No, he did not leave Dive Team Network. He is here. He has some more important things to discuss and talk about off air, but he will be back Saturday and back on next Monday as well. So today we're going to talk about the Atlanta Falcons, the Atlanta Hawks, Georgia Bulldogs, and then kind of just talk about week 10 when it came to the NFL schedule, and week 11, I think it is, in the college football schedule. So the Falcons are in full-blown crisis. Y'all know what it is. I have my notes right here. I have the Monday Night Football game here, which I will be turning to the Atlanta Hawks as soon as they start playing in about 30 minutes. The Falcons are in full-blown crisis mode now. Lost 4 in a row. Luckily for us, our division sucks as a whole. So we're still have a possibility of making it to the playoffs, but at this point, I don't even know what's happening. The Dogs got a massive showdown with Texas this week coming up. I think I need to push this down a little bit. Y'all give me a second. There we go. The Georgia Bulldogs play the Texas Longhorns this week. A massive game coming up as well. And then, of course, the rest of the NFL chaos that happened over the weekend. I mean, the Miami Dolphins absolutely plummeted the Buffalo Bills. And then we'll talk about the Hawks as well. I do want to give a shout out. To the Atlanta Falcons Rookie of the Year, I believe is his name. Rookie of the Year, Drake Baldwin, who is the rookie catcher for the Atlanta Falcons, has really come in for the Atlanta Braves. The rookie catcher for the Atlanta Braves has come in and solidified that role almost immediately. So shout out to Drake Baldwin, Rookie of the Year. Clap it up for him. Clap it up. We appreciate you Hopefully he stays here. Alex Anthopoulos, don't mess this up. Please don't. Go out and spend the money, bro. If anything the Dodgers can teach you is that they need to go out and spend the money. Again, thank you guys. See you guys joining in. Give me the likes. I'll see it. Make sure you guys, if you want to, if you feel like you can, go ahead and get in the chat for me, and let me know where you're from, and tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. So, where y'all want to start? I'm assuming that you have seen my rant from yesterday about the Atlanta Falcons. So let's kind of talk about it in totality now with less vitriol, I guess is the word to say. I said the defense in the moment played pretty well, and they did, per se. When I say the defense played pretty well, I mean the Atlanta Falcons had 7 sacks total. I think I said 6 yesterday. They had 7 sacks total, 2 forced fumbles, 1 recovered, and an interception. On the surface, that looks like a really, really good game. But Jonathan Taylor is Jonathan Taylor, y'all. Jonathan Taylor ran for 244 yards, 205 yards after contact, including, I don't want to say it's the dagger, but it was kind of the beginning of the end with that 83-yard touchdown run. And then, of course, they just decided to do what Shanahan-type offenses do and just give the ball to your star running back and matriculate the ball down the field. The San Francisco 49ers did the same thing to us with Christian McCaffrey. 205 yards after contact is unacceptable. We have an issue at the linebacker spot when Divine Diablo isn't in. If I'm Divine Diablo, I'm probably going to look for, if I'm his agent, just me, I would probably like, hey, man, y'all need to pay me some more money because y'all can't survive without me. JD Bertrand, I see why we have JD Bertrand. I see a lot of y'all Falcons fans, a lot of us Falcons fans are really tough on JD Bertrand, right? Rightfully so. He's shown more moments of terribleness versus more flashes of greatness, right? But JD Bertrand just reminds me of a young Nate Landman. He's really, really good on, like, I don't want to say really good. He's decent, really good. He doesn't deserve any really good. He's pretty decent when it comes to stopping the run. He had that 4th down and 1 stop against Jonathan Taylor where he flowed over the defense after the defensive line had really good penetration. And he can read his keys. Sometimes he gets out of position, but I'm going to credit that to being young. But as a whole, he is wildly targeted when it comes to pass protection. I mean, passing downs and coverage. That's not his forte. He can't do it. So for me, and I think I said it yesterday, the frustrating part about the defense and the coaching decisions were, I like Ronnie Harrison, but he is definitely undersized, but he is better in coverage than JD Bertrand. I would have loved to see a little bit more D'Angelo Malone. I don't know if he was hurt or not, but D'Angelo Malone, I saw Josh Woods get in there, number 42. I think he's undrafted. If not, he was a late round pick for us, bounced back and forth between the practice squad. I would have loved to see that combination of D'Angelo Malone, Josh Woods, and Ronnie Harrison, and then bring in JD Bertrand on short yardage situations. Any offensive coordinator now wants, and including our offensive coordinator, and I'll get to the offense with Zach Robinson, but any offensive coordinator now, once they get you in a formation or get you in a package that they can take advantage of, they're just going to run almost no huddle or semi hurry up the whole time. Every time JD Bertrand gets in and they check to a pass play and they attack him. They attack him every single time. So for me, as much as I want JD Bertrand to progress to be better, I think he should be 3rd or 4th string. I think D'Angelo Malone is better. I think Ronnie Harrison is better. I think, of course, Divine Diablo is better as well. Another linebacker I have an issue with, although he played pretty well, he is much better at just letting him run around like they do Jalen Walker, and that's Caden Ellis. Caden Ellis is a havoc maker, a havoc wreaker, I think is really what you want to call it. He wreaks havoc all over the field when you allow him to just run around with his hair on fire. When he doesn't have to sit there in the zone and make sure he covers this flat or has to get the curl in the dig, and that's not his forte. Heat-seeking missile. Lock on the target and get there. That's what Caden Ellis can do. And when you allow him to do that, he creates so many mismatches because you can't really get to him because he's so quick. He's a lot like Jalen Walker, and we'll get to Jalen Walker and James Pierce. We'll get to those guys. But if it was for my linebackers got to do better. At the end of the day, Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in the league this year. He's probably low-key outside of like historic seasons. You've had Derrick Henry, historic seasons with Saquon Barkley. You take away those historic seasons, Jonathan Taylor's been pretty much the best running back in the league. Is that a hot take? Is that controversial? I don't know. But to me, he's been at least the most consistent. And at the end of the day, why he deserves to be paid is because when Daniel Jones had the bloody mouth, when Daniel Jones was getting hit left and right, when they couldn't complete a pass, when they couldn't do anything, because Colts had 500 yards total offense, but then Jonathan Taylor had 244 of those yards, right? So when you can't convert anything on third down, I think the Colts only converted 1 or 2 third downs, and one of them came on a quarterback sneak. So when you can't convert third downs, you just have to give the ball to the running back, and eventually that's what the Colts did. He's a problem. So as good as the defense played, you have to tip your cap to Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is a beast. I also liked my sleeper for this game. I don't know if it was because they really didn't have time to throw the ball, but Keith Taylor, 6'3" wide receiver, cornerback from University of Washington that was in because Mike Hughes was hurt. He and AJ Terrell played a hell of a game. Now, the thing about the Colts is none of their receivers scare you. They don't really have a lot of speed. Downs is good. He's probably their best receiver. But our safeties were playing well outside of that one lapse with Xavier Watts where he was supposed to have the deep third. And I see that they've taken Jesse Bates out of the deep third position and put Xavier Watts there. And then he got burnt for that touchdown. But outside of that, like really one bad play, it really wasn't, you know, the defense didn't play bad passing the ball, especially after the first or second quarter. Our defense, Jeff Ulbrich is really, really good at making adjustments with the personnel that he has. The only adjustment that we can't make is we don't have a big body to stop the run. Onyemata is good enough. But right now, we need a Tavondre Sweat. And that takes me to Terry Fontenot. Terry Fontenot does not deserve to be fired. I've seen it all on the message boards. I've seen it everywhere. Terry Fontenot does not deserve to be fired. But this is his last chance. And I say last chance because I'm assuming Raheem Morris has to go. I don't see a way after losing 4 straight, after laughing and joking and making this, saying this is one of your better teams, all the bravado from the offseason of, you know, we have a chance to be the best offense in the league and blah, 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 blah. Sticking by Zach Robinson, all of those things. You have to assume that Raheem Morris is on the hot seat, right? If Raheem Morris is on the hot seat, you have to assume Zach Robinson's on the hot seat. I don't think Terry Fontenot should be on the hot seat. We got Kyle Pitts. We have Drake London, who I told y'all that should be a segment. Y'all write that down for me in the notes. I told y'all it's going to be a segment, or we told y'all, because we told y'all Drake London was really, really good. I don't know if he was top 5 because you have Jamar. The top 5 is so stacked at wide receiver, and the way that today's game is played, the top 5 wide receiver is the upper echelon of offense in today's game with Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb. I mean, hell, you could throw T. Higgins in there. I don't know if he's top 5, but then you have the emergence of another wide receiver in Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, it's hard to be a top 5 receiver, but Drake London is clearly a top 10 though. Top 10, and he, after naming those names, he really could be number 5. Right? When I think about it, I mean, you got Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. You know Devontae Adams is probably over the hill right now. He's still really, really good. You got Garrett Wilson up there with the New York Jets. But again, Garrett Wilson with the New York Jets is in a similar situation to what Drake London was in for the last 2-3 years before we got Michael Penix. Right? So Drake London is really good. Bijan Robinson is really good. Kyle Pitts, we finally figured out how to kind of get him involved in the offense. Whenever we can get him involved, even though he had a drop, he's really good. Darnell Mooney, when healthy, and I expect for Mooney to have a huge second half of the season because he essentially missed all of training camp, right? He got hurt on the first day, the first drive of training camp or something like that. Then he missed all the training camp, and then he got hurt again. He hurt his hamstring in like week 3 or 4. So, you still have all of these pieces, not to mention Jalen Walker, James Pierce, adding those guys, bringing in Divine Diablo, the defensive line, drafting Brandon Dorless, drafting Ruka Ro'oro, Xavier Watts. I think AJ Terrell was here before he got here. I think Kyle Pitts was his first draft pick. But even adding those guys, drafting wise, Fontenot is really, really good. Right? Draft wise, Fontenot is really, really good. Free agency wise, I don't know how good Fontenot is. You brought in Divine Diablo, cool. That's good. We don't really have an impact free agent outside of Divine Diablo. Mike Hughes is mid. He does just enough to not be talked about, which is what you want to be as a DB when you're mid. We did not bring in, we cut Morgan Fox, which is something that kind of caught me off guard because he's such a strong run defender. We cut Morgan Fox. I didn't get that one. And as a result, you brought in Onyemata, but we are missing having a defensive tackle, and we didn't do anything at the trade deadline. And Tavondre Sweat is right there. We don't need you to run around. We just need you to pause if necessary, plug the hole. So Terry Fontenot, for all the good that he does draft-wise, does not do great in the free agency. And am I talking myself into him getting fired? And he doesn't do great not only in free agency, but like he doesn't do well picking coaches. Brought in Arthur Smith. We see what that is. We see what that was. We see what it is in Pittsburgh, right? Arthur Smith brought in Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder. That just didn't work. You see, you brought in, you hired, you passed up every coach that we interviewed to be the head coach of the Falcons after we got rid of Arthur Smith is now good. There's Mike Vrabel, outside of Bill Belichick. Dodged that bullet. Mike Vrabel, McDonald out there in Seattle. Clint Kubiak is probably going to be our next head coach. But I believe there were a couple other coaches that are doing really, really well right now that we interviewed that we did not hire, and we went with Raheem. That's going to come back to bite you, Terry. If your job is on the line, you would have to assume outside of drafting, you failed at every other role. You failed at bringing in the head coach. You failed at bringing in free agents outside of Divine Diablo. There's not really many other free agents that you brought in. So you kind of got to look at it not in a vacuum of just drafting. You got to look at Terry Fontenot and be like, hey, what is your value overall? And one thing my podcast partner says all the time is somebody else is going to drive. Anybody would love to drive a Ferrari. Just because you can't drive the Ferrari doesn't mean that somebody else ain't willing to. And lo and behold, the Falcons roster is this way from being a working Ferrari. Right? I believe in Michael Penix. I believe in Bijan. I believe in Algier, even though obviously this coaching staff doesn't. So if I'm looking at it from a management standpoint, I would keep Terry Fontenot. I don't know. Y'all know more than me when it comes to Rich McKay. I hope he does not have any say-so. But Terry Fontenot, you are on your last chance to get this coaching hire right at the end of the season. My vote for the next coach for Raheem Morris, Clint Kubiak from Seattle is one. Any type of offensive coach, right? Any type. I love Jeff Ulbrich, and I would love for him to stay with the Falcons next year. And we hire an offensive-minded head coach, an offensive coordinator type, because offensive coordinator type coaches don't go anywhere, right? Your longest tenure coaches in the NFL, I believe, you got Mike Tomlin, who's a defensive coach, but he's in Pittsburgh. He'll never be fired. Jim Harbaugh, who is special teams. I'm sorry, Jeff Harbaugh, who's special teams. But Shanahan, offensive coach. LaFleur, offensive coach. The Philadelphia Eagles head coach, offensive coach. Right? Andy Reid, offensive coordinator type, offensive coach. DeMeco Ryans is defense, but he's continually having to change over his offensive coordinator. Look at the Lions. Bite your kneecaps guy. He's had to now replace the offensive coordinator multiple times. So at that point, it'd be a lot easier for the Falcons to hire an offensive-minded head coach and hopefully retain Jeff Ulbrich and then replace the defensive coordinator. But let's get back to the game. Sorry, I went on a little bit of a tangent about Terry Fontenot. Raheem Morris said he is not making any staff changes after a fourth straight loss. The Falcons were 0 of 8 on third down. Some of that can be attributed to drops. A lot of that can be attributed to play calling. I don't know if there's tension between Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson, but there should be. I asked y'all when I was live streaming yesterday, I said, y'all need to count how many times on the coaches cam they show Raheem Morris not saying nothing. He don't say nothing, right? So you're 0 for 8 on third down. You have all of these parts, but we can't really score. I think we are like 1 for 12 in the last 2 games on third down, something crazy like that. And we only average like 16 to 18 points a game. That's not going to get it done when you've heavily invested in this roster. I think everybody else can see this roster and say that we are underperforming. We've had all of the NFL pundits, all of the ESPNs, the Fox News. I'm sorry, not Fox News, Lord. The Fox Sports, the NFL Network, your independent bloggers, your journalists, anybody that covers football has said the same thing, right? They said the same thing about Zach Robinson. This scheme is awful. Running a pistol is awful. There is a little bit of reprieve when it comes to, it's hard to run play action pass when you're down to your third string tackle, right? But the play calling is bad. I think I went on a tangent yesterday. I went on a rant yesterday about you're trying to bleed the clock and you run a fade, right? When you're averaging 5 yards a carry. It's not that this offense can't average 5 yards a carry. It's that this offense will average 5 yards a carry, and then we'll throw the ball for seven times in a row. It's that you have Algier, who is clearly should be, at this point, Algier should be back number one to me. Clearly should be back number one, and that we should use Bijan as the multi-purpose Swiss Army knife. And play him at the same time, hell. But Algier deserves to be on the field and have more rushing touch and have more touches than just 3 for 19, 5 for 35. Like that's just insane to me. I don't know if Zach Robinson is disconnected from the team. He came down out of the booth to coach on the sideline. Again, Ike Hilliard, I should tag you to all of these. No way Ike Hilliard should have been fired. No way Ike Hilliard should have been fired, because we still have the same issues. And that's my thing with Zach Robinson is we still have the same issues. We have not getting the play in with 8 seconds left on the play clock, so we can't make any adjustments and look at the defense. Even yesterday, I said Kirk Cousins says the same thing that Michael Penix Jr. is now saying. Hey, hurry up. What are we doing? Michael Penix did this in the first half multiple times. Like, hey, give me the play. Give me the play. Give me the play. I think Zach Robinson is in over his head. I think at this point, I don't know. I think he's in over his head and he's prideful. Anybody else can see that the pistol really ain't working like it should. And I do like some of the aspects of the pistol. I do like some of them, especially when we have motion. I do not like making it our base offense. And he refuses to change anything. And at this point, I believe he's the front runner to go back to Oklahoma State and be the coach. So why not send him early? We've now seen Dan Campbell for the Detroit Lions. Thank you. I couldn't remember who that was. We've now seen Dan Campbell take play calling duties over, even though they were averaging like 35 points a game. He's like, dude, I know what I want the offense to look like. We've seen Dan Quinn take over defensive play calling. He's a defensive coach. Sometimes you have to decide as a head coach, Raheem, that it's not working and you need to demote your coordinator. You had no problem demoting your defensive coordinator, and you brought in Ulbrich, and for the most part, it's worked out. Why? That's my executive producer, y'all. Why can't you do the same thing for the offense? It's clear that Zach Robinson is not the guy. It's clear that Zach Robinson is in over his head, and he may be distracted to go to Oklahoma State. At this point, you have to re-sign Drake London, right? Drake London is establishing himself. So if you have to re-sign Drake London, who's establishing himself as a top wide receiver, and they ask him about third down conversions, and his thing is, I just run the routes. Come on, man. We've all covered sports long enough to know that when a player says, I just do my job, whatever sport it is, baseball, basketball, football, you get job Morant, hey, you have to talk to the coach about the plays. Whenever somebody says something like that, they are disgruntled. They are 1,000% disgruntled. So if you're gonna, you can't have your star players disgruntled with the offensive coordinator. That goes back to Raheem. You're a connector of people, right? You don't really do anything, but you're a connector of people. You're a CEO coach. As a leader and a CEO, you got to see that your executive VP, your offensive coordinator, ain't it. Your organization is falling by the wayside. It's time to make a change. Raheem, if you want to save your job, you need to figure out who else can call plays. You also need to figure out who can develop Michael Penix to throw the ball over the middle of the field and not panic. Michael Penix has all the potential in the world. He has a strong arm. His footwork is awful, but that's something that can be fixed. Look at Josh Allen, right? He has a strong arm. He's actually way more athletic than we give him credit for. He's just scared to run. Somebody's got to get there with him and develop him so that he can read defense, read coverages, and throw the ball over the middle of the field. I'll put 75% blame on, I'll put 65% blame on him on that, 35% blame on the coordinator and the play calls. Because it's also hard for me to be able to read the defense when I'm getting plays in with 5 seconds left on the clock. So at that point, the Falcons lost 31-25 to the Colts. I think Raheem is a dead man walking. I think he should be fired. And I hate to say that. And y'all know I'm super pro us. But you can't keep getting time after time. I think Raheem and Zach Robinson, should be demoted today. I think Raheem, if he doesn't turn it around, should be fired by the end of the season. And I think Terry Fontenot should get one more year to get it right for coaches. Not many GMs get a chance to hire 3 coaches. There's Miami, and we know everything that's going on with that because they still are in litigation with Brian Flores, right? You got Miami, and then you have I don't know any other GM. I think Ryan from the Bears. I think him over there he's on his second or third coach. You got Eberflus, you got Johnson, and I think he had somebody before Eberflus. Not many GMs get a chance to hire a third coach. Not a third coach in 5 or 6 years. That ain't going. So this is Terry Fontenot's last go round for me. Real quick injury updates. Matthew Bergeron out. Matthew Bergeron is our meanest offensive lineman. He is the guy that gives us the opportunity to go destroy the defensive line. I think him and Lindstrom are the catalyst for the offensive line, especially in the run game. And Bergeron is mean and nasty. He's out for multiple weeks. I think he may be on the 4-week IR at this point. Of course, Storm Norton has his foot. He had a setback. He may go back to IR as well. Defensive wise, we really didn't miss a lot of the injuries where people were hurt. Not going to lie to you. Didn't miss a lot of them. Leonard Floyd, love him to death. UGA guy, that's my guy. We ain't really miss you. Especially with Ebiketie, who... and we'll get to Ebiketie in a minute, is playing well. We didn't miss. Who else got hurt? Mike Hughes. Didn't really miss Mike Hughes either. Mike Hughes may have to go. So to me, the injuries to the offensive line are concerning because we already are down to our 3rd string tackle. We're already down now to our 2nd string guard. But I think we could weather the storm on defense. Let's pivot to defense real quick. Falcons defense is, man, a lot of promise. A lot of promise. They're one player away. Jalen Walker, everything we saw at Georgia is true. He is instant impact. He's Mr. Energy. He's learning how to play in space now, which is terrifying for everybody else. If you go watch, he can get to the quarterback. He makes plays. He strips the ball. He's very fundamentally sound. He's super strong. If he can learn how to play in space, it's gonna be a long day for he could end up being if he could play in space, he'll be like a Levante David type guy. He could be that good of a linebacker to me, in my opinion. Bucs fans, y'all may say I'm lying. I'm tripping. But to me, if he can learn how to play in space, he's crazy. And James Pierce Jr., when he's dialed in and just reading his keys and doing his job, man, he's scary. I do see as a young player, he keeps getting beat or he keeps getting baited on the play action pass. So they'll run a stretch play away from him and then they'll do a naked bootleg, and he bites on it every time. And that just comes with discipline. That comes with development. But the thing I like about Jeff Ulbrich and the thing that I like about our defense is you can see the development in our defense. You can see James Pierce, who disappeared for a couple weeks. They start moving him around. Now he's crazy. You can see how we use Ebiketie. He was on the trading block. We didn't make a move for him. I don't know why. But Ebiketie is one of the best edge-setting defensive ends or rush linebackers that we have, right? You can see the development. Keith Taylor came in 6'3". He's great. AJ Terrell, they ain't throw to him no more. He's so good, they don't really throw to him anymore. And then our safeties are young with Xavier Watts. You can see the development in the defense. What's frustrated, and that's what it is. You can see the development in the defense, and you can see the regression in the offense. And they're both equally as talented units. Special teams, who is the Falcons special teams coordinator? Bro, you could have been left in Berlin with Zach Robinson too. Not going to lie to you now. The Colts in the first half average starting position was like the 20, the 10, the 15. Bro, the whole second half, especially like the third quarter, especially like the fourth quarter, it seemed like they were starting at the 50 or beyond. They started in our territory 3 times. Bruh, I know the Colts had 500 yards of offense. I know the Colts had Jonathan Taylor had 244 yards. But, bro, y'all put the defense in horrible positions. Horrible position between special teams and the offense. Y'all let the defense out to dry. And the defense is for real. So, at this point, it's time. It's time. Zach Robinson does not need to call any more games. Talked about the rookies, sack, fumble, sacks. Drake London had a strong performance as well. So, all in all, who do the Falcons play next? Let's look. Y'all let me know in the comments if you look it up faster than I can. But I also that early bye has really come back to hurt us. I thought it wouldn't have hurt us as bad. That early bye is awful. Let's see. The Falcons play. Next Sunday we get our get back with the Panthers. Next Sunday for the Falcons against what's up, Nessa? Next Sunday with the Falcons against Carolina, we have to win this game. We have to win this. Did you run backwards into the end zone? Okay. We have to. Sorry, I'm watching the Packers game right now. Packers Eagles. You have to win this game against Carolina coming up. Because if you don't win the game against Carolina, you are now 0-3 in the division. You are now 2 games behind Carolina. You'll be 3. You'll be 3-7. They'll be 6-5. Yeah, you can't lose this game. Next game, every game now is a must win. But this game is a must win for the Falcons. Carolina is inconsistent too because it's a touchback. Carolina's inconsistent too. Carolina just got smoked by New Orleans. The 1-8 New Orleans Saints with 26-year-old Tyler Show, rookie quarterback, got smoked. So, I mean, the game is there. This is your slump buster. The Carolina Panthers historically have been slump busters outside of a couple years. We need to use them as a slump buster. So I'm looking for us to beat Carolina and hopefully beat them convincingly. All right. Let's transition to the Georgia Bulldogs. Let's go NCAA football. Georgia Bulldogs, we're going to try to stay here just for a quick second. Beat Mississippi State 41-21, and it was not close. I think it was Mississippi State scored 7 points, was up 7-0, and then was down 38-7. Faster than you could blink. That was pure dominance. Pure dominance. Nate Frazier had a highlight, had a hell of a day. I think that was a career day for Nate Frazier, who has had ups and downs. Ball security issues. Chauncey Bowens pretty much took his spot. I don't know what's going on with Chauncey Bowens. They didn't really play him last game. They're playing him this game. With the portal and all of those things, you don't really know what's happening behind the scenes and why players will and why players aren't playing but luckily for Georgia, there's so many running backs that they have, and Kirby Smart is such a really good recruiter. I think Chauncey Bowens, he's going to end up being a great 1-2 punch with Nate Frazier down the stretch. Noah Thomas transferred from Texas A&M, big game. Again, we did play Mississippi State. So take that with what you will. They really weren't that great. Bulldogs improved to 8-1. Now you play Texas. I don't think this is an elimination game for the Bulldogs, but if you lose this game to Texas, you no longer have like wiggle room, right? If you beat Texas, you then play Charlotte, and then I think you play Georgia Tech, right? If you win those games, at least 2 of those 3 games, you're pretty much guaranteed a spot into the college football playoff. You know, they try to say that the SEC is more championship is more important, and it should be. But for the most part, it's you're on the outside looking in because Bama and Texas A&M are still. I think Bama's only loss is to Florida State, but they're undefeated in the SEC, and Texas A&M is undefeated in the SEC, and they don't play each other. So you may be on the outside looking in, which may be a good thing, right? But you got to beat Texas. Texas is the number 10 team. They're one of those teams, kind of like Ohio State last year. You wrote them off after an early loss, right? The early loss to Ohio State, which is 14-7, and then I think they lost one more game because they're 6-2, right? But they're the number 10 team in the nation. I mean, Texas ain't bad. And they figured out to not let Arch Manning throw the ball down the field. Just dink and dunk it to all of your playmakers and figure it out. Georgia has one of the best rushing games in the league in the nation, as they normally do. Texas A&M's run defense only allows 78 points per game, and they're wildly athletic. If you're going to do that, that is who's going to win the game. If Georgia wins this game, it keeps the pressure on Alabama and it keeps the pressure on Texas A&M. If Georgia loses, all the pressure is going to beat Georgia Tech, and that becomes a college football playoff elimination game. So, I got to give a kudos to Mike Bobo. I don't think I've seen Georgia score 21 points in the first quarter at all this season. Mike Bobo, since the second half of the Auburn game, even before that, the second half of the Tennessee game, Mike Bobo has been cooking on offense. Oh, my God, Saquon Barkley. Oh, my God, Saquon Barkley. Oh, my God, Saquon. Okay, my bad. Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown just bullied the Packers. But Mike Bobo has back to it. Mike Bobo has been cooking on offense, and it seems like Gunnar Stockton, again, this is what I said with the Falcons that we're not seeing on the offense. Georgia's offense has been progressing ever since that Tennessee game. They look better and better and better. I think that comes with the offensive line getting healthy, right? Michael Morris is back. Michael Morris is an animal, bro. You have Gaston, who is the freshman. I think he's a guard. He may be a tackle. I don't know. They're all like 6'7". So you have those things. That's my cousin calling. I'll call her back. You have a great offensive line, and now, even though you lost Kobe Young, you have more and more receivers turning up, and now you have London Humphreys, who is more of the possession receiver that we need him to be, with Noah Thomas being the 6'5" guy, along with Dylan Bell, Zachariah Branch, and then add all of those beautiful tight ends. Oscar Delp, who's 6'5". I think Davin Bellamy calls him an avatar, calls him an alien. You know, you have the rookie. I can't pronounce his last name. I can't remember his last name, but he's 6'7". He had a great catch. You have all of these guys, and Mike Bobo is trusting Gunnar Stockton to throw the ball where only these guys can get it. And then at the end of the day, well, if we're having a tough game, if we are not throwing the ball down the field, or we're not doing whatever we need to do, you can still hand the ball off to Nate Frazier, Chauncey Bowens, and run the jet sweeps as well. Mike Bobo is in his bag right now. But I'm careful with giving him all of the big ups, because as soon as we start believing, he's going to go right back to being boo-boo instead of Bobo and throwing 37 screens and trying to not run the ball and all of those things. So I know this game is going to be great for UGA against Texas. I can't wait for it. I'm going to be right here in my house. Every time I watch a game at home, we win. Every time I go out, we lose. So I'm going to be right here. Don't ask me to come watch y'all. Don't ask me to come watch the game. Nothing. Nathan, no. But if Georgia can get this win, first of all, they should be ranked higher than Oregon. I don't know why Oregon is ranked higher than them right now, to be honest. Georgia has more ranked wins. Oregon has the better loss. And it seems like the college football committee is prioritizing better losses than better wins. What does that mean? Oregon lost to the number 2 team, Indiana. Georgia lost to the number 4 team in Alabama. So or 3 team. Georgia. No, it's 14. 4. Georgia's 6. Oregon is 5. Alabama's 4. Texas A&M is 3. Indiana's 2. Ohio State is 1. Right? There's no reason that Oregon should be ahead of Georgia. Oregon has no good wins. I guess you could count this Iowa game as a win, but we don't. Do we really believe in Iowa? You know what? Iowa was ranked. So they have one ranked win. And they have the better loss. They lost to Indiana at home. Georgia lost to Alabama at home. Indiana's undefeated. Alabama lost to Florida State, which is just, I can't believe that happened. But outside of that, I don't really see why Georgia isn't ranked number 5. But that's all malarkey anyway. It doesn't matter because you still got to win out. So I can't wait for this week. I told y'all November is when all the big games happen, rivalry games, everything matters. The Eagles just scored 10-0. This is a rock fight, ain't it? All of the rivalry games happen, all of those great things. So I am cautiously excited about the Bulldogs. Cautiously excited. I hope that Gunnar Stockton and Mike Bobo continue to make the right decisions. With that being said, y'all, we're going to take a break. Then we'll come back and talk about the Hawks. And then we'll kind of go over everything else in the NFL. I got a couple notes. Seahawks and Lions look like the best 2 teams in the NFC. I know Eagles fans. I know. But the Seahawks and the Lions and the Rams look good as well. And then we'll talk about the AFC as well when we come back. Y'all take a break. I will be right back. As always, remember to like, follow, and subscribe. Give me about us. I'm used to being here with Norwood. Give me about 2-3 minutes. I'll be right back. All right, y'all. How do I take this off? Here we go. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. I am here. I'm about to watch this Hawks game. Speaking of the Hawks, I appreciate y'all. Y'all give us a like, follow, and subscribe. I hope y'all are seeing me on Instagram. We can now stream to Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. Tell your friends, so that we can get some more followers on TikTok and we can stream to TikTok as well. We appreciate you guys. I did not have it on mute. I apologize. All right. Game just started. Hawks versus the Los Angeles Clippers. A lot of former Hawks on that Clippers team. You got John Collins, you have Chris Dunn on that team as well. So let's get to it. Speaking of the Hawks just played the Lakers at home. No LeBron, no Austin Reeves, but they did have Luka. And last time Luka played in Atlanta, he scored 70 points. So the Hawks have been kind of up and down. We are about to be in a crazy 4-game road trip that goes back and forth across the country. I think we play 5 games in 9 days or something like that. So it's going to be an interesting little stint for the Hawks. Trae Young. Let's have a discussion, y'all. Let's do it. Let's talk about it. Trae Young's been out, MCL sprain. Probably going to be I think he's out 4 weeks, so he's probably got 2.5 more weeks. He'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks, probably two more weeks of then 2 weeks of getting back in shape and conditioning. So he's probably out another month. We've been running Dyson Daniels at the 1. We've been running Jalen Johnson, and we've also been running Nickeil Alexander-Walker. For everything that Trae does offensively, when he's not in the game right now, when he's not playing, we do miss his playmaking ability and the fact that he can get to the line and or facilitate better than anybody we have on the court. But he's also a ball stopper, and he dribbles a lot. There's not a lot of dribbling. There's not a lot of dribbling here in this offense and with the way that Quinn wants to run this offense. There's a lot. It's free flowing, a lot of passing, a lot of cutting. Not a lot of standing on the wing, dribbling the ball and telling people to do all that. And Trae is notorious for that. I think Norwood called it saying, I don't know if Trae can be a cog versus being the system, right? Right now, everybody is a piece in the system or a cog in the system, and the system is working pretty well, even though the Clippers just started out 10-2 on us on a 10-2 run. But if Trae can come in and just be the point guard and get everybody else involved and hit the open shot, Trae could average. He could be Steve Nash. We need Trae Young to be Steve Nash. 18-12. You give us 18-12 with this team and not be a defensive liability and be able to hide yourself on defense. Hawks are a scary team if we can stay healthy. There has been a dramatic shift. I know y'all see it. If y'all are Hawks fans and basketball fans, I know y'all have seen it. The defense rating has been great. I think according to statistics here, since Trae Young's injury, the defensive rating has gone up 8.4 points. There's been an 8.4 point shift in defensive rating. Trae Young's defensive rating is a 119, which is not good. Without him, it drops down, or basically points per game, our rating drops down to 110. That's a top 5 defensive mark during this stretch. I'm going to say that again without all the numbers. Trae Young, when he's not on the court and he's hurt right now, the Hawks are have a top 5 defensive rating. That's kind of crazy. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is fantastic, and he's such a good two-way player. The team is holding opponents to 44% shooting from the field. That's down almost 5% from when Trae is playing. Dyson Daniels. Hey, another guy. I talked about Bobo earlier. Dyson Daniels. My baby left this here. Dyson Daniels. He started out slow. Boy, he is getting it going now. Defensive wise, I think he's team leading. I think he's number 2 in the league again, averaging 2.1 steals per game. He holds as the primary defender. Dyson Daniels is holding players to 37% shooting. Of course, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and my guy that I told y'all could be the guy is Muhammad Gay. Muhammad Gay is just Mr. Hustle. He is 6'10", which is the same size as Capella, but he can shoot. He's not as big as Capella, meaning he's not as strong yet, but he can shoot. He can hustle. And boy, he is annoying on defense because of the length of his wingspan. The length of his, pause if necessary, the length of his wingspan. We are a defensive team without Trey. How many times have we said that as as Hawks fans in the last 5 to 7 years that we're a defensive team, even under Quinn? And that's where this rating is good with Kristaps Porzingis, bro. Kristaps Porzingis is one of the weakest fives I've seen in the league. He ain't got it. That calf is all jello. It's not there anymore. The legs aren't there, but he is a really good help side defender. Again, it's early in the season. We still need to settle. No way. We still need to settle the backup point guard. I do like Wallace, but I would love for us to figure out what maybe if we needed to upgrade, it would be to upgrade Wallace or upgrade the backup point guard. Luke Kennard, I would use as trade bait because, or just make him a spot up shooter because he is not a backup point guard. He's not a facilitator, and he's really not a good ball handler either. So if I had Luke Kennard, I think Luke Kennard, if you're not going to trade him, because you do need shooting and you have Caleb Houston, but if you do have Luke Kennard, you have to make him more of a shooter. And I think he'll go back to his natural role once Trey gets back. But Trey, your role is defined, big dog. Dang, they are up 12-2 on us. Bang time. Ooh, that's a foul. Your role is defined, Trey. I'm not going to stay here with the Hawks too long because, I mean, it's still early in the season. But y'all let me know in the comments. Y'all let me know where should the Hawks, or let us know down in the comments section as I make this a reel. If you're the Hawks, what move do you make? Who can you go get? Is the move to go get a backup point guard? Is the move to trade Trey? Do y'all think we're going to trade Trey? The more we win and the better we look defensively, the more likely it is you could trade Trey. The problem is we don't look 100% great on offense. Okongwu's in the game. With that being said, that's my Hawk segment. We had about an hour. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's go to our final 15-minute segment with NFL Week 10, and also NCAA football. Indiana squeaked by. Barely beat. Who did they beat? Was it Penn State? Yeah, Penn State. They beat Penn State. I think Indiana's for real. Norwood does not. I think Ohio State is for real. But if you're talking about just pure rankings, I think Texas A&M has a better resume than Indiana. No, they don't. Indiana beat Oregon. So I think Indiana and Ohio State are for real. But I think the Big Ten, outside of those two teams, Big Ten is ass, dude. The Big Ten is absolutely awful. Good job, Jalen. Jalen looks like he's going to take over the game offensively here. The Big Ten is awful. The SEC is far and away better. It's you can't ignore strength of schedule and ratings and rankings when you're talking about teams. and you're talking about tiers in basketball and football. You can't do it. There's no way that you think a team that's 6-3 in the SEC playing Georgia, Alabama, Missouri, Vanderbilt, Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, having all Tennessee, having all those ranked teams that you have to play, and a 6-3 in the Big Ten when they're playing Northwestern, Minnesota. I don't even know who else is in the Big Ten. UCLA, all those other people. Like, none of those teams are good. So I am excited for the rest of this. Dabo Swinney is probably going to be fired. Mike Norvell is probably going to be fired. There are a lot of players and coaches. I'm sorry, a lot of coaches that have been fired and will be fired. And we don't, Luke Kennard's back. And we don't really know who's going to replace them. You got Auburn. You have LSU. You have Florida. And then you also have coaches that may go to the NFL. Little nugget I just heard, not a nugget. Somebody floated this off in the message boards. What if Lane Kiffin goes to the pros? What if Lane Kiffin somehow in a roundabout way turns into the next Hawks head coach? I mean, the next Atlanta Falcons head coach. What if Lane Kiffin turns into the next Atlanta Falcons head coach? That would be what you need. That would be what you need from an offensive standpoint. It would be a creative offensive guy that does the zone read as well as pro style offense. And he would be more inclined to keep Jeff Olbert for sure. Just floating that out there. Other college football news, Deion's probably going to get fired, or he should quit. Deion should quit. And then NFL recap, Jonathan Taylor is clear by far and away the MVP right now, leading the MVP race, along with Sam Darnold and the ageless wonder, which is going to be Matt Stafford in the LA Rams. I watched Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks score 28 points straight and absolutely annihilate everybody else. Jackson Smith and Jigma adding speed at wide receiver. So Sam Darnold has a big arm, so all he has to do is just throw the ball, chuck it down the field. They have a dual running back system with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. They got tight ends. Their defense is pretty good. I mean, you got Tyrese Knight, who had 2 forced fumbles on sacks in his breakout performance. If this defense is as good, that NFC West with the Seahawks, with the Rams, you can never really count out the 49ers unless they play the Rams. And then, of course, the Cardinals are the Cardinals. Is the NFC West the best division in football? AFC North, no. NFC South, no. AFC East, no. AFC West, no. AFC West is pretty good. The NFC West and the AFC West are running football right now. That's crazy. Never saw that. AFC South is pretty good, but the Jacksonville Jaguars let you down there. Yeah, NFC West and the AFC West are the best divisions of football, bar none. Best divisions in the conference. That's crazy. That's crazy. Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, 3 total touchdowns, 40-plus yard scrimmage TDs. He's a problem, and they're figuring it out. And Dan Quinn demoted his offensive coordinator, and he decided to call the plays. And he said everything right in the press conference, right? He said everything right. He said, I still consult the other coaches, but I know how I want the offense to look, and I know how I want it to be run. That sounds like to me, he said we need to run the ball more, and the offensive coordinator said no. Right? That's more of a protocol thing. But they look damn good. The Lions, the Rams, and the Seahawks and the Eagles are separating themselves from everybody else. I would throw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in there, but the Bucs are just hurt all the time. Like Mike Evans out for the season. We don't know about Chris Godwin. We don't know about Bucky Irvin. They have so many players hurt. But if the Bucs were ever to get healthy, they're the team that's going to make a run towards the end of the season if they can get healthy. Now, they're never going to get Mike Williams back this year, but they are a scary team, dude. They are a scary team. Surprises of Week 10. I can't believe the Saints beat the Carolina Panthers at home 17-7. I don't know if the Saints defense is that good or the Carolina Panthers offense is just fraudulent. And they beat us 30-0. The Carolina Panthers beat us 30-0, and it wasn't even close. Like it looked like JV versus varsity. And then they go out there, Chris Olave. Look, I see why the Saints refused to trade him. If he's healthy, if he's healthy, Chris, them Ohio State receivers, bro. If he's healthy, I don't know where you rank him. Maybe that's a discussion for another day of more wide receiver rankings. But Chris Olave is a skilled route runner. He was cooking Carolina all game. Shout out to Tyler Show, I guess. He came in and won the game for them. Didn't see that happening. Jonathan Taylor has 15 touchdowns in 10 games, y'all. Let's talk about the Dolphins and the Bills. What are the Bills? Are the Bills a good team? Are the Bills fraudulent? What are they? Because we called the Falcons every name under the sun when they went out there and got, that's a double dribble. We called the Falcons every name under the sun when they went out there and got embarrassed by the Dolphins at home. The Bills just got embarrassed by the Dolphins. And they call it stunning. They stunned the Bills. But did they really stun the Bills? The Bills got embarrassed by the Dolphins and they lost to us. If you look at the Dolphins and you look at us, our records are both like 3-6, 4-5, something like that. If the Bills and the Dolphins, if the Dolphins and the Falcons are that bad and the Bills lost to us, by conclusion, you have to believe that the Bills are overhyped, fraudulent, not who they think they are. Right? The Patriots dominate the NFC South. The Patriots do what the Patriots do. The Patriots beat teams who they're supposed to. The Patriots played the NFC South. They played the Saints. They beat them. They're better than the Saints. They played the Panthers. They beat them. They're better than the Panthers. They eked out a win against the Falcons. They let the Falcons beat themselves. And then they played a Bucs team who's everybody's hurt. So they beat the team because they have more availability, right? So you have all of those things. You can't get mad at the Patriots for having a soft schedule. Hell, the Falcons had the perceived easiest schedule in the league, and we are 3-7. We are 3-6. You got to beat the teams in front of you. Drake May looks like that guy. Scary hours for everybody else. He looks quiet, comes in, just beats everybody else. Plays within the system. Doesn't have a lot of high name receivers. You can't, other than Kayshon Boutte was hurt. So they got like 5'10" Pops Douglas, who we just found out about him because, everything that happened against the Falcons and why he played. And then you have a whole lot of other nobodies. And I mean that respectfully. We don't know who all these and Stephon Diggs. He does have Stephon Diggs. Can't forget that, but Stephon Diggs old. So Drake May, he looks like exactly what New England is used to. Underrated quarterback. Underrated quarterback who is just winning. Mike Vrabel. Bill Belichick Jr. Nobody really likes him. Tennessee has bad blood. They refuse to do any trades with him. That's crazy. Patriots, man, y'all better look out. Y'all better not let the Patriots get another freaking dynasty, dude. Please don't. Please don't. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's 11 o'clock. I am going to take it down. It's hard to talk by myself for 2 hours, but I'll leave y'all with this. The Falcons culture, is it fixable without major changes? Where do you make the changes? Because right now we're losers. Do you make the changes from the GM down, or do you make the changes from the coaches down? I don't really see a lot of changes on the roster, to be honest. Maybe get rid of some of the older dudes. I got UGA over Texas Saturday morning live. Y'all make sure y'all tune in. And then I just want to tell you all, thank you guys for listening to me. I appreciate it. I thank you guys for every follow, every comment, every like, every share. Dive Team Media on the way. Now that we can collaborate on YouTube, we on the way. Shout out to the Water Boys. I saw them out while I was at lunch today. Shout out to them, really cool guys. Hopefully we can, collab. Shout out to Quarters Reporter. Shout out to all of the people of the Falcons Nation that I follow, Atlanta Falcons Nation. I would love to do some collaborative work with all of y'all because I know we have a lot of time to talk about how much we hate Zach Robinson together. With that being said, thank y'all. Tell them where you can find us. You can find us at the Dive Team Media on Instagram. You can find Splashcast on Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. We don't have a Tumblr, but if we come back, we will. And we may start a Pinterest. I don't know. We have some more stuff coming as well. Make sure y'all tune in, like, follow, subscribe, and hit the bell to make sure you get the notifications. Thank you. Love y'all. We out of here.